Today I'm at a brand new location. It's the natural park of the Salinas or Salt Lakes in Santa Pola. And I've come here to do a bit of photography, but as this is my first trip out of the new year, my last video having come out in the new year but filmed in December, I actually wanted to take this opportunity to also talk a little bit about what my plans are for 2022. What I want to achieve, and also a little bit about why I've actually found it so hard to come up with that. I hope you'll enjoy the video. If you do and you're new here, don't forget to hit subscribe before you go. Okay, so this is the natural park of the Salt Lakes in Santa Pola, or actually it's near to a place called La Marina. And so far what I've found is like some protected walkways through these beautiful dunes that are all around here. We're not that far from the sea. The sea's probably only a couple of 100 meters over that way. And I'm not sure what this is going to bring out photographically. The early part of this, there was some views over some of the Salt Lakes, but they're all kind of protected and fenced in, so not very photographic. But we'll have a look and see what we can find. And of course the plan is to do some photography a bit later on in the lead up to sunset. I'm going to do a shot of this observation tower, this wooden observation platform which is sitting here. I've been up on top and had a little look around, and I can't really see any obvious compositions from up there. But this might look, something a little bit interesting. As I said, it's backlit by the sun, and that's bringing shadows, long lines of shadows from the tower forwards. I'm doing a vertical composition with the tower mostly filling the frame and those shadows in the foreground leading in. Wide angle, no filters, and I'm just going to shoot this. I'll do probably 3 exposures, one for the highlights, one for the shadows, and one in the middle, just to make sure I can get all of the detail that I want. Although I'm probably going to have most of most of the tower quite dark in the scene. Come into one of the hides because we've actually got flamingos here. They're not very pink because they don't get the pink shellfish that gives them the pink colour here. But I thought I'd try and get a couple of shots. The one that's sort of closest to me actually isn't that close. But I'm hoping I might be able to get an image. So I'm shooting with the telephoto lens, obviously the 55 to 200 all the way out, f8, ISO 800, and just waiting for it to do, you know, some interesting stuff, hopefully. Never make a wildlife photographer though. Closer. So I guess it's time to have a little talk about my plans for the year. And I've really struggled to come up with kind of meaningful goals or things that I want to achieve for this year. And I think part of that is just what's happened over the last couple of years. So coming into 2020, I had all sorts of plans. Places I wanted to visit and see and photograph, of course. And we all know what happened in 2020. That didn't work out so well. So for 2021, I made a conscious decision not to really come up with too many plans. I just worked on the basis of, well, I'll kind of just go with the flow, just enjoy being able to go out and doing whatever photography grabs me. And that's what I did. But coming into this year, I really felt that I needed some kind of something to reach for. And where I struggled was I didn't want it to be visit this place, visit that place. It just didn't feel like that was really pushing my abilities. It was, you know, other than the fact that I can drive a car to get to places, you know, it didn't really feel like it was doing anything for my skills. So I wanted what I wanted to achieve this year to be more about creativity, and I found it really hard to come up with, you know, kind of like measurable goals for creativity, because creativity is, I guess, by its very nature, you know, kind of abstract and difficult to quantify. But nevertheless, I've come up with some ideas of what I want to achieve this year, so I'll share those with you. I am definitely struggling to find scenes to shoot here because everything is fenced off. It makes it really difficult to, you know, kind of shoot anything without a fence in the way, tall fences. But I can still talk about my plans for the year. And I've decided there's 3 things I want to achieve this year, or 3 things I want to do this year. And the first one is I want to explore more creativity, more creative options. So instead of photographing the obvious scene, I want to look at ways to make it different, whether that's using composition or focal length or focus or exposure or editing processes. I want to try to create some images that are different. Probably not today, but that's something that I want to try to achieve over the next 12 months. The second thing is completely separate, and I guess in some ways almost completely opposite to the first thing, because I want to do some photography that really highlights Spain. So rather than, you know, a bit of a beach or, you know, a mountain or a hill or something like that, I want to do photography that you would look at the image and go, ah, yeah, that's got to be Spain. So I want to get some of that Spanish feel in some of my images. that may mean that I end up doing photography in and of towns, buildings, architecture, that kind of thing, to try to get that Spanish feel in there. Okay, I've been kind of rushing around to try and get a last shot in before we lose the light. This place has proven to be more of a challenge to photograph than I thought it was going to be. But I've got a scene here which is kind of okay to wrap things up. It's not going to win any awards. There's a pool of water, like a small part of one of the salt lakes, maybe a bit of an overflow. Got quite a nice shape to it. There's some trees in the background on the far shore, and the sun's just setting behind those trees. And I'm going to do 2 exposures, one for the highlights, one for the shadows, and blend them, because there's no point using filters, because otherwise it's just going to darken the trees too much. Although having said that, I suspect this is going to be a very contrasty scene anyway. It won't look right otherwise. Well, we're losing the light now, and although there's some thin cloud in the sky, I don't think we're going to get anything too amazing, and compositionally I haven't really got anything that amazing either. It's a shame that it's so restricted here. There's definitely some potential in this place, but I'm sticking to the rules and staying on the walkways because it's a conservation area, and that just limits where you can shoot and what you can shoot. Anyway, I'm going to come on now to the third and final thing that I'm going to try to work on over the next 12 months during 2022, and I'm calling that missed opportunities. One of the interesting things about making videos is that when you go back and look at the videos for editing purposes, you sometimes see a scene and think, why didn't I shoot that? Or I should have shot that. Or, maybe it was a scene that I looked at and I dismissed because it wasn't sort of suiting my mood on the day. But even so, there are potential missed opportunities that I want to go back and revisit. So I'm going to look at some of the places that I've been to over the last 12 months and revisit them over the next 12 months and go back specifically to look at those missed opportunity shots. So look out for those. Okay, I think that's me done for today. It's a very pretty place to walk around, very beautiful, but because it's this conservation area and you're kind of limited to walking on the paths, because I don't want to break the rules. I understand why they have them. Just makes it really difficult to get any decent images here. But I may have got a few that are worthwhile, a couple at least hopefully, that are worthwhile sharing in the video if nothing else. And hopefully I've shared with you what my plans are for 2022. I mean, I'm still going to be going and visiting new places and trying to find new places to photograph, but within that I really do want to look at that creative, typically Spanish, and missed opportunities. But right now I'm going to start trudging back to the car. These routes are all sand because they're part of the sand dunes. It's actually really hard work walking on them. So I'm going to bid you farewell and just say my usual, I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have and you're new here, well, don't forget to hit subscribe before you go. If you've enjoyed this, give it a like, share it on social media, and of course leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about the place, the images, my plans. Always interested to hear. And as always, I really appreciate you taking the time to watch, so thank you very much. And until the next video, bye.